Don't underestimate the power of relaxation. Hello, friends. I am Shayn, and I am the owner and artist behind Shayn's Art Studio. And I wanted to come on here and reflect on my first year as a part-time artist and small business owner. So, if you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope that my videos give you some sort of inspiration to be an artist, collect art, or become a small business owner of your own. So let's get right on into it. So I started dot painting back in 2020, and I used the next 5 years to practice and really hone my skills. In 2024, I began painting acrylic and watercolor paintings, and in January 2025, I decided to launch my small business as an artist with dot painting as my focus. One thing that I should note about myself, as I want to be transparent with all of you, is that I do work a full-time job. So making time for my side business can be tricky because my full-time job and my career is just as important to me as being an artist with a small business. So to be honest with you, 2025 was tricky. It really was. There were many times where I questioned what I was doing as an artist and a small business owner, asking myself why I'm doing this, who I'm doing this for, and if I should continue. But ultimately, I love creating art, regardless if it sells. But if it does sell, then I have the business side to accurately report my income. A lot of artists do vendor events and participate in art fairs to make a good chunk of their income. In April 2025, I attended my first event as a vendor, and I planned 3 other events throughout September, October, and November, which you would think would give me plenty of time to prep for each event, but no. I was scrambling, staying up late the night before each event to prep and pack my supplies every time, no matter how much I thought that I was in control of the situation. I really was not. My experience at vendor events was good overall. I received many compliments on my art at all of these events, and I met some amazing new souls. But honestly, my biggest takeaway from being an artist at vendor events is that not any and all vendor events are profitable for artists. And I say that in the sense that craft fairs and art fairs are 2 very different things. And you don't really know that until you become a vendor at these events. And so I learned that I will be more selective about which events I do apply to and attend in the future. Now, as I say that, I am not doing this art business for financial gain, although the extra income is helpful, of course. I'm doing these vendor events to gauge what the interest is around my artwork, who my audience is, and where to find them. So throughout 2025, I did 1 art fair in the midst of craft fairs, and I made the most sales at that art fair. So my interest now lies in art fairs, which is a trickier process to get selected for the events. But at the same time, being selected means that my artwork moved the organizers enough to offer me a spot at their event, and that means a lot to me. It means that they see potential in my work and in me as an artist. So what I learned many things in my first year as a small business owner and as a part-time artist. And what I learned from working full-time while also running a small business on the side is that it's a lot of work to run a small business, even if it's a micro business like my business is. The reality of being an artist is that you're not always going to be making sales and commissions. You're doing everything. You're doing the administrative work, you're the social media manager, you're the brand manager, you're the vendor coordinator. All of this combined makes for a lot of late nights and weekends spent working on the business. What I didn't expect going into this was how much administrative work it takes to run a small business. I mean, I knew that there was administrative work involved, but I didn't expect it to be as much as it is. And learning everything from applying sales tax to sales and filing business taxes for the first time was a lot to learn and understand. So, for anybody who's interested in having a small business of their own, I highly recommend talking to an accountant or a tax official or your Department of Revenue in your area, so that all of the information that you have is correct, especially when it comes to filing taxes. I learned a lot about managing social media as an artist, how to streamline posts to get the best views and have content for future posts. And I also learned about myself in the process. I learned that I do not thrive as much when I have a million things going on, which I think is honestly the case for a lot of people. I realized that I had a lot of health issues and headaches and migraines and things of that nature because I was so stressed from starting a new business. So I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my body and how my body handles stress. And in that, I've taken on some goals and an outlook for 2026. So one of my goals for the new year is to be more selective and organized with the type of art that I'm making and how much time I put into my side business outside of my full-time job. Because the reality is my full-time job is more important than the side business. It's what makes all of this possible. So I need to be at 100% for my full-time job just as much as my side business, if not more, which means creating a sustainable routine and ensuring I get adequate sleep, meals, and free time to relax. And I think that relaxation is something that is lacked when it comes to being a small business owner because you're wearing so many different hats. So don't take relaxation as a sign of, oh, they're not doing their job, they're not doing this or that, they don't care as much about this or that. Because taking time for yourself, partaking in self-care and exercising and finding time to read if reading is your hobby, or finding time to go for walks or hang out with friends and family, all of that is just as important because it gives you time to recharge. And that is so important. And I will talk more about this in a later video, but don't underestimate the power of relaxation. I do think my stress level was high throughout 2025 because I was trying to start a small business. And it takes a lot of energy to start a brand new business. But I think ultimately the stress led to burnout and poor health. So the overall goal this year is to use my time wisely and to be practical about this side business. My second goal is to find my style, my art style, and to let it grow. Let it create what it wants. I think my calling is dot painting, but I also enjoy watercolor, gouache, digital illustration artwork, and I plan to dabble in all of these areas in 2026, with dot painting being my main focus. And my last goal is simply to be more organized with my small business, especially when it comes to tracking expenses and using spreadsheets and tools like QuickBooks to streamline this process. So, overall, I learned a lot in 2025 as a small business owner and as an artist. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to run my own business and to create art all year. I was creating stones. I started the year creating my own cement stones at home, and then eventually I moved to purchasing wooden stones because it was more sustainable for me. I was painting bookmarks all year. I was painting dot paintings. I was painting watercolor artwork, and I got started with gouache as well. And I've learned that gouache is one of my favorites. So, I will strive to manage my time wisely in 2026 and lower my stress level and be more organized so that all aspects of my life are thriving. So, if you liked this video, please take some time to like and subscribe to my channel. This is a new YouTube channel, so if you would like to receive more behind the scenes videos on my artwork, what I'm working on, where my business is going, and learn about my experience running an art business, please subscribe to my channel and comment down below to let me know what kinds of videos you would like to see from me. So, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening. Bye.